Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Next Man Up, where you have average guys sharing their average takes on all professional sports. Today, we're not diving into any professional sports. We're going into college for the first episode today. Matt's here with Connor, Tom, and our recurring guest, Marcus DeFelice. Marcus, say hello. I'm not sure everyone will not remember from our previous episode.
Absolutely. Hello.
Perfect. All right, awesome. Yeah, so we're diving into our first college-based podcast episode today because it is March Madness season, as everyone knows. Selection Sunday has just passed, and the brackets are out, and millions are being filled as we speak. But we're going to break down the first couple of matchups today. We'll start with the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing, the undefeated number 1 seed Gonzaga. They are my favorite as well to win, as much as the majority of America. But this team is so dominant, guys. They're so good offensively, and they shut down teams defensively. They average less than 70 points given up a game. They've thrashed the 2 and 3 seeds that are in this tournament already in the regular season, and it's not looking like anyone can really stop them unless they have some sort of fluke game occur where they don't end up having prolific offense, or they can't end up stopping anyone on defense. The one thing I will say before I open it up about Gonzaga and that whole West region is that the selection committee did not make it easy for Gonzaga. There are some heavy hitters in their bracket. I don't think I've seen a region this competitive in a long time. So this is going to be a really interesting West region for Gonzaga. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts, because there are a lot of big time college basketball programs in that West region.
No, Matt,
yeah. Matt, go ahead, Marcus, you go.
All right. No, I was just saying that I totally agree. And I think one of those teams to keep an eye on is number 5, Creighton, right off the bat. And so Creighton has a very efficient offense. I know a lot of people were stunned when they were blown out by Georgetown in the championship game for, what were they in again? The Big East? I think it's the Big East.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were blown out by Georgetown in the Big East in the championship game, and I really think that was just a fluke. I think they were just having an off game that game. I mean, Georgetown, yeah, I hand them credit. I mean, they shut them down. They shut down one of the best offenses, I think, in the tournament. But when Creighton's on, I think that they put up enough points where they'd be able to stay competitive with Gonzaga, and so they would meet in the Sweet 16 if both of them do make it that far. So I think that's a good team to keep an eye on. But you're 100% right. You have other teams. You got Virginia in there. You have Iowa in there. You have Kansas in there. You have Wichita State, which always makes a decent run in the tournaments. Possibly coming in at the 11th seed. They would have to knock off Drake first. But I think that the West is definitely going to be a big division for upsets, if there are any, just because there are going to be so many teams in there that are just very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Connor,
so were you gonna? Yeah, I was gonna say, Connor, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it's gonna be tough, but I don't see anyone knocking off Gonzaga. They're gonna be close games, but they're coming in. They're the only team since 2015 to come into the tournament undefeated. Jalen Suggs is a top talent, first round draft pick, probably top 5. He's incredible. And they're the only team in college basketball to have 3 All-Americans, potential All-Americans on their team. They're the best team in college basketball when it comes to efficiency on the offensive scoring. And I believe they're averaging somewhere around 92, 93 points per game, which is just very unheard of. They're a great team. I think Kansas could give them a run for their money. Iowa maybe, but I think Iowa's going to get knocked off early in an upset. Oklahoma may make a decent run at them. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on USC. I think USC is a very slept on team in that side of the bracket. So I think USC is a team to look out for. But when it's all said and done, I don't think any team's going to give Gonzaga a run for their money.
Yeah, I was I was contemplating between, because I have USC going up against Kansas in the round of 32, and I was really going back and forth about that matchup. I really don't know where it's going to go, but I'm gonna take a little hiatus from the sports talk for a second because as I mentioned before, we have Tom and Connor with us today with Marcus, but we have Sean now with us, I believe. Sean, can you hear us? Are you good?
Hello.
Oh, you're perfect. All right,
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, so Sean is now here. Sean, do you have any opinions on the West region? We were just talking about how Gonzaga's really has astronomical expectations at this point.
I mean, I feel like if Gonzaga doesn't win this, it's a failure of a season, regardless of their undefeated status in
Wow,
it.
what a take! Get it on the hot take tally. Holy crap!
I don't know. I would love to see. I think that Oklahoma Missouri game is going to be pretty good.
Yep.
They got really close records. I don't know like a ton about college basketball outside of like top teams, but I love when the games, like the teams that are playing each other in the tourney, have like a really close record because I love those games. I love picking those for the upsets.
Those are the games that make or break people winning money off of brackets, to be honest.
Yeah, that was the one game I was back and forth on for like an hour before I decided to fully commit to a team. That Oklahoma, Missouri.
Yeah, I mean it's there. Those 8 and 9s. There are so many. There really are. It's so many toss ups as well as like we all think Gonzaga's gonna win, but there's so many other toss ups around. I honestly think the VCU Oregon game. That's a game that could go probably either way. I don't see Kansas not getting out of the round of 64, but it's pretty clear that Gonzaga is the favorite to get through the West. Let's go to the East because we got Michigan and potentially not hopefully, whatever. We have Michigan as the one and potentially Michigan State and a whole bunch of the teams there. Michigan, I think they're going to make it to the Final Four. I don't see a team beating them. I know that's like a typical one-on-one matchup, but what do you guys see coming out of the East besides Michigan?
A number one priority when it comes to the East is cheering for Alabama.
Oh my gosh, why?
As long as they win their first game, they can lose the next one. But if they don't win the first game,
why are you so adamant about them getting out? Who cares? What if they lose the next game?
I don't care if they lose the next game. They can lose the next game. That's fine.
He just wants them to beat Iona because Iona are
Fuck
bastards.
Iona.
Oh,
Yeah,
you don't. Oh, so you're an anti-Iona guy. What? Why?
Well, because they've knocked off Fairfield
Because
to get to the tournament.
Fairfield could have made the tourney, and I could have gone to the tourney.
Yeah.
Now I can't go to the tourney.
You were gonna go to the tournament?
Yeah, I was gonna go too.
Made it, we were gonna go.
Oh damn. Well,
I was gonna watch them lose to Alabama.
I mean, Rick.
Now I have to cheer for Alabama.
Well, I mean, Rick Pitino's hard to beat. I kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit as well because he really has, regardless of his past, he can coach. I mean, he's brought 5 different colleges, I believe, to the NCAA tournament now with Iona. Crazy.
I think I have Michigan State, assuming they beat UCLA, making a decent run. I have them in the Sweet 16. But when it comes to, I have Maryland taking down UConn. I think that's going to happen. I don't know, but I do have Michigan in my Final Four. I don't think anyone's going to beat them. But the one upset I do have going back to the West is Ohio over Virginia.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah,
I didn't end up. I did that in, I believe, one of my brackets, but not the one where I picked Gonzaga, I think. But yeah, that was another one where it's tempting to pick the underdog.
Yeah, honestly, I hope it happens because, I'm not even going to put some analysis in. It's just more personal emotions that I'm feeling right now after I hear the word Virginia. I think it was our freshman year, guys. I had them going all the way and they lost to the number 16 seed the first time ever. And I was so pissed off. And I was like, I hate March Madness.
UMBC, they got blown out by 20.
Yeah. So then the next year, I'm like, well, screw them. I picked Duke. And then I think Virginia won then the following year. So I was like, I just don't. March Madness gets me very sad because whoever I want to win or pick to win never wins. So whoever I pick, guys, don't pick who I pick because it never works out.
So Tom, you got to be jumping. So what you're saying is you need to be jumping in this more so that when people watch this, they're gonna say, "All right, that's who I don't pick."
Exactly.
You got to start hopping in on it. So let's.
So literally for that reason, Matt, I picked Virginia to win, hoping they don't win.
That's
Here's my hot take
That's
about the whole picking
Go
your bracket
Ohio.
thing. If you pick the team with the cooler mascot, you're guaranteed to do very well.
Oh,
I
yeah.
pick the team with the cooler mascot every time,
Give me an example.
and I win.
There's stats on that we can pull up.
Is there?
Dude, I'll try and figure out where my past brackets are, but like when I just like if I don't know who the teams are, I just look at who has the cooler
Alright, so
mascot.
John,
and
let's
I pick the
just-
cooler
let's just do
mascot, and they
this.
win.
So Sean, let's do this, okay? So let's go over to the South because we talked a little bit about the East. Let's go to the South. Who is a better mascot? The Wisconsin? They're the Bears, right? Or the UNC Tar Heels?
Aren't
Wisconsin's the
Wisconsin
Badgers. I think,
Badgers, the Badgers. Excuse me. So what's better, the Badgers or the Tar Heels?
Dude, Badger's gonna eat the Tar Heel. Badgers are winning.
All right, so you would pick. So based off of that logic, you would pick Wisconsin.
Wisconsin,
Oh, okay. Well,
100%.
I'm
I
actually
like that pick.
Throw the mortgage on them.
the mortgage.
Throw
What
the
happened?
mortgage on them.
All right, so let's do
Let's
this.
go Winthrop.
Can't lose parlay.
So let's do this now because if they were to win, which I do actually have them to win against UNC, they would all play Baylor because Baylor's not losing to Harvard. If they do, it's ridiculous. I'm sure Connor's going to want to talk a little bit about Baylor, but the Baylor Bears or the Wisconsin Badgers, what's a better mascot?
See, like, I still think the Badgers cooler. However, you got to take into account Baylor's like a really good team. So I'm going to have to go with Baylor on that one.
But see, now you're a fraud.
So it's a cooler mascot unless the other
Like the
team's
Bears
really
going to
good.
eat.
Right, so
The Bears going to eat the Badger anyway.
But I
Like the
feel
Badger's
like-
cooler, but the Bears going to eat the Badger.
But Baylor has cooler colors though, so that's where I feel like if it cancels out, you pick the team with the better colors.
Fuck. He just boom.
So
Mind fucked.
All right, so you're okay. So the colors are more present. Okay.
I mean, like if they're a really good team, you kind of gotta. This is more for like those 8-9 games when you're in like the lower parts of the bracket and you're like, I don't know, who do we think's gonna win this game? Like the games where you're like, neither one of these teams is really gonna win this like group, their section of it. Which one of them is gonna advance the furthest though?
Oh, okay. So this is not for the. So you're saying that this theory is for the non.
But like I'll pick Notre Dame to go all the way every time. I don't even think
Well, they're not in the tournament, but that's okay.
Yeah. Like when they're in it, fighting Irish can't beat that.
Yeah, but let's.
Unless you're a potato famine.
Sean definitely has Notre Dame on there as like the 65th like team, and
Playing for the playing. They're like they're playing today to get into the tournament.
Yeah,
It's actually a write-in ballot.
Right. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the South. I have who do I have? I have Houston coming out, or no, they're the Wisconsin. I actually have Wisconsin coming out of the South in this bracket. The reason for that, their defense is really, really good. I'm a big advocate of defense winning championships, no matter what the sport is. So Wisconsin's defense is best in their conference. I believe they average, they keep their opponents under 65 a game while scoring about 70, 72. So they keep games close, but that's kind of who they are. They didn't really blow anyone out this year. Obviously, Baylor could give them a great run for their money. I just picked Wisconsin because I had another bracket to do, and I picked Baylor in another one. But I have them going up against Arkansas. Arkansas has a lot of opponents over there, like Texas Tech and Florida, Ohio State. They're not great defensive teams. And Arkansas, I believe, averages over 75 points a game. They average 82 points a game. So they really don't have much of a threat there. But does anyone have anything different besides Wisconsin, Arkansas for their final? Yeah, Sean.
I was actually like just looking over the bracket because I haven't actually made my bracket yet, but I'm like looking over it as we're doing it. And I was gonna say Arkansas. That's my upset pick for this south side of the bracket.
Really?
I'm going with Colgate. They only got one loss.
Yes, I'm going with Colgate as well.
Arkansas is going to come into this cocky as shit. They're going to be like, yeah, we score 82 points a game. Who the fuck is Colgate? And then Colgate's going to be like, we only lost one game. We're going to beat them. And they're going to beat them. Colgate's got this.
See, that's an interesting way of thinking about it because I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that Colgate should win. There's a very slim chance that Colgate wins. I don't think that they should win. I think that Arkansas is a much better team in every aspect of the game. But it's March Madness.
Exactly.
Shit happens, and so I'm going with Colgate because I believe in each of like the last like 3 or 4 tournaments, there's been a 14 seed that's upset a 3 seed. There's been a high upset like that, so I would like to see that happen.
The boys in Colgate are buzzing.
Yeah, that was one that I could see doing. I don't know if Connor and Tom have different opinions from what I'm about to say, but I couldn't end up picking it. Colgate hasn't played anyone in the top 25. Their conference isn't great at all. My whole thing was they don't really play anyone throughout the whole season. It's kind of like Mount St. Mary's getting into the tournament. Like they play in the NEC, they don't play anyone. It's like St. Bonaventure. Like they don't play anyone. So like I don't see them. I don't see Arkansas being cold in the round of 64, but like you're right, it is March Madness. Anything could happen. I don't know.
I'd also like to shout out Oral Roberts. That's a sick name. Whoever came up with that, Mr. Roberts, great job. I don't think you're gonna win, but you're gonna win. You might not be number 1 on the court, but you're gonna be number 1 in my heart.
Yeah, number 1.
Matt and Connor, I'm sure you're gonna agree. I think I went Arkansas here. I think I saw something that 6 players on Arkansas are averaging at least 1 steal a game. So I thought that was a pretty interesting stat line. So kind of Matt, going off of your defense wins championships here, I'm going with Arkansas to win this one.
Yeah, I also have Arkansas. I'm just gonna run through this region real quick. I have UNC beating Wisconsin. Do I think they're going to beat Wisconsin? No, but I picked it because I want to see it happen. My cousins grew up UNC fans, and shout out to Maggie here. My sister goes to Baylor, so I'd love to see a Baylor UNC matchup. I think Winthrop's going to upset Villanova.
Yeah.
Villanova lost their best player. He's out for the season. And then I have Texas Tech making a decent run. They're in my I believe Elite 8.
You have them over
so
Arkansas?
I do, yes. Texas Tech. And then I have Virginia Tech upsetting Florida and then eventually losing to Ohio State. So I think interesting things are going to happen in the South. I just don't know where it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be there's so many tough matchups in there as well. That 8-9 matchup UNC Wisconsin, like we said, I honestly think Winthrop Villanova is going to be a great game. I really do. That was one of the upsets where I was like, this is what I, not only because like I don't like Villanova as it is, but like that's just like that's another juicy matchup because we know Villanova plays in the Big East. The Big East is not a great. It's an okay conference, but like
Villanova fun.
Yeah, they're not great, but but that was a matchup where I was like, I'm gonna take Winthrop. Just that's an upset right there that I found intriguing. Another one that I have in one bracket that I don't have in this one actually that I'm looking at, but in another one I do have. I have Virginia Tech beating Florida. I have Virginia Tech beating the Gators.
I do
as well.
Yeah,
yes, me too. Absolutely.
That's another upset that I thought was intriguing. I think either of those teams will end up losing to Ohio State either way, but that was another one I considered. Because Villanova, like they're another team. They're better than the Big East Conference, but their conference isn't that spectacular either. And they didn't really beat a lot of significant teams this year. So we're gonna move on to the final region, the Midwest. I think everyone will be adamant in saying that Illinois is probably a decent favorite as the 1 seed in that region.
Disagree.
Yeah, I would say if there's 1 seed to lose, it's gonna be Illinois.
Yeah,
I am going all in on Oklahoma State led by Kate
Yes.
Cunningham.
You know what? That's
Yes.
a great poll.
Absolutely, yes.
That's a great
Yeah.
poll.
I have them.
agree.
I have Oklahoma State in my Final Four.
I do not watch a lot of college basketball, but my roommates love it. So we have seen a lot of Oklahoma State games in the past like 2 weeks, and I have seen Oklahoma State turn games on their head that they had no business winning. I'm gonna 100% go in on them winning the Midwest.
Yeah, they
I think this region is going to be a toss up. I think not anything could happen in this region. You got teams like Houston in there. You've got West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Illinois, Tennessee. Like all of them are very solid teams. But I think so. At least one double-digit seeded team has made the Sweet 16 in each of the last 11 years. So I think if there's a team to be in the Sweet 16 that's double-digit seeded, I think it could be this one.
How do you guys feel about West Virginia?
Very good team.
I feel very okay about them.
West Virginia is I feel like they're a little underrated. They're a very good team. I'd look out for them, honestly.
Yeah, because I have them going up against, I think, San Diego State, I think, in the round of 32, I believe. Do you think West Virginia has that game, or do you think that if it does come down to San Diego, West Virginia, they could lose to San Diego?
I'm so glad you brought up this game, Tom.
I have the exact same matchup that you do. I have them going up against San Diego State, and I have them losing that game. I mean, West Virginia, I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're a team that is lethal in big games. Like if you take a look at their record versus top 25 teams, and I know they're in a tough, division, but they're 5-7 against 25 teams. So in the big games, if you don't have like a really good record going into it, I have a really tough time choosing you to go far into the tournament, which is why I am going with San Diego State on that one. I think they have potential to do well. I mean, they're used to playing big games, but they haven't shown that they win a lot of big games. So
yeah, Tom, it's a great poll by you this game because I also have the same great topic to bring up here. I am in agreement with Marcus. I have San Diego State beating West Virginia. They were 2-0 against top 25 teams. West Virginia plays more top 25 teams, but they were under 500. And their opponents only average 60 points a game against them. That's absurd defense. They also can put the ball in the bucket. They have 74 points per game as opposed to West Virginia 77. But I go with defense again in that matchup, to be honest. So I picked them over West Virginia, and then I have down below them. I actually got to shout out Rutgers real quick. I have them upsetting Clemson.
Yeah,
Me as well.
I heard that it's like this is their first time in like 30 years or something making the tournament.
Oh yeah, they're gonna come out hot. Oh yeah, Clemson's gonna be sitting there chilling. They're gonna say what they said about
Rutgers is a good team. Very good.
Going to go the way of Trevor
You were
Lawrence.
saying before, Sean, they're gonna be like, who's Rutgers, and then Rutgers is gonna smack them. I have them going up against Houston. I have them losing that game against Houston. Then I have Houston to San Diego State. I have Houston taking that game over San Diego State. I watched Houston play the other day. They have a fiery offense. It was really hard to watch them just score and score and score on. I forget who they were playing, but it was an absolute barrage. I have them going up against Oklahoma State, and I have them taking that. But I also have Oklahoma State in another because that's another toss-up. That's going to be a really fun championship if that happens, in my opinion.
Yeah. I also, if and no one has anything else to add, I also have one more matchup that I've been having a very hard time with. I don't know if anyone else has been in the same boat as me, but I'm looking to circle back to the East. I'm looking at where BYU is playing, and I think Michigan State has to play in, and then there's the Texas game. So obviously, I picked Texas to come out of the first round, but I'm torn on who they go up against and who wins that game. So I don't know if you guys had any, input on that.
Yeah, I'll hop in here. I think if Michigan State beats UCLA, which I think they're going to, I think they're going to beat BYU, and then I think they're going to take on Texas. And honestly, I think they can beat Texas. They have a very solid team. They have strong leadership. They have solid players between Aaron Henry, Rocket Watts. Just the name Rocket Watts is awesome. But I think Michigan State can make a deep run in the tournament, assuming they get out of that play-in round.
Yeah, I can't wait for the playing game. That playing game on Thursday. It's going to be so exciting. I can't wait for March Madness to kick off. But that'll do it for this episode of Next Man Up. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, NextManUp05. Follow us on SportsMe. Go get the SportsMe app. Follow us, Next Man Up Sports Podcast. If you want to go listen to the podcast, we have our anchor in the description of this video. If you're watching it, you're on our YouTube already, but make sure you like and subscribe. Nick's not here, so just like and subscribe. We're not going to bore you with that nonsense. When we'll see you next episode.